Let's kick off with attorney Ramesh Khurana of the Khurana Law Firm. This well-known firm is located in Gaithersburg, Maryland. The moderator on this set is attorney Kenneth Haber from Boyd's, Maryland.
Welcome. My name's Kenneth Haber. I'm a former assistant United States attorney and a former senior attorney in the Office of Inspector General, the Medicare cops. I'm here today in the studios with Ramesh Khurana. Ramesh is literally a worldwide known attorney who handles immigration matters, and I'd like to thank him for coming in.
Thank you.
And he's here to discuss a very timely topic. The new visa bulletin is coming in October 2015, and this is the Capital Forum. Ramesh, can you tell us what a visa bulletin is?
Sure. Visa Bulletin is a publication which is released by the U.S. Department of State every month, and this usually is released by the 10th of the month, and this bulletin will list the priority dates for the green cards under family-based and under employment-based categories for the coming month. Now, let us say if the visa bulletin is issued by the 10th of September, so it would list what are the priority dates for the month of October. So, usually about 3 weeks in advance. So, this is a monthly publication.
And I take it that there's some significance to this publication and what's coming out this coming month. Is that correct?
Yes, Ken. It has a lot of significance. You know, I would like to remind you about the executive order which was issued by President Obama on November 20th of 2014, and he had indicated that the visa bulletin will be revised to reflect the real situation in regard to the green card numbers. And this is in line with that President proclamation or executive order of November 20th. So, what has happened is, now earlier they would show just the cutoff dates for the purpose of filing green cards during the next month. Now, it has two charts. One is for the purpose of green card, where the priority date has really become current, and the second chart is for the purpose of filing a petition. What does it mean? So, that means that you are filing the adjustment of status package if the beneficiary is already in the United States, or there will be a consular action. More details are required to be known. We will explain if we get a chance. And as per the adjustment of status, everything will be set in motion, but green card date is not yet there. So, what will happen? Under this, the people may be getting whose cutoff dates have become current for the purpose of filing only their employment authorization documents, and they may also be getting advance parole, like if they want to travel after they have filed their employment authorization documents and they need to go to some overseas visits, they can do it and they could return based on the advance parole. So, this is a revolutionary change.
Well, that's very helpful for people.
Very helpful, and the main benefit of this reorganization regarding visa bulletin is, earlier some of the green card numbers were not being used during the financial year. Now, since everything will be in the pipeline, no numbers will remain unutilized. So, full numbers will be used which are mandated by the Congress.
So, this is going to help the backlog, I take it?
Yes, you know, to some extent, because there won't be any unused numbers, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
How does the new system help family-based green card pending petitions?
Sure. Now, in regard to family-based green cards, again there are going to be two categories on the visa bulletin. One is for the traditional system, that is the priority dates have become current and the visa numbers are available immediately. And the second category is that you are eligible to file adjustment of status if you are already in the United States. and if you file under the family category, then you get your work authorization and you can start working in the United States. It's of great benefit. I have seen some of the people who are basically the spouses of the green card holders, their priority dates are not current and they have been working on H-1Bs or L-1s or different kinds of visas, and if their status is threatened because they lose their job, green card holder spouse would not have been able to protect such a spouse. Now, because of EAD, under the new system, if their priority date has become current or cutoff date has become current for the purpose of filing, they are going to be big time beneficiaries.
Very good,
Yeah.
very good. How does the system help employment-based green cards that are pending?
Yeah, the system works exactly the same way as it works for the family-based category. Again, for the employment-based category, there are two charts. One is for the traditional category where the priority date has become current, for the green card where visa number is available immediately, and the other categories where you can do the filing of the petition so that you can get EAD.
Do you have any recommendations as to steps to be taken to speed up the green card process that a petitioner can take?
Sure can. I would say that depending upon the nationality of the applicants or the beneficiaries. Now, there are some vital documents which are required for the purpose of filing adjustment of status application. Now, the most important document or critical document is your birth record. It's not like America where the child is born and you are issued a birth certificate which comes by mail within 1 week, 10 days. In India, in good old days, there was no mandatory requirement for the registration of births and deaths. With the result, many persons' births were never recorded. Now, of course, it has become mandatory. Even now, we see one problem. They don't give the name to the child. It would say baby girl, baby boy. It would not have any name. Now, at the time of filing of green card, how do you recognize that this baby girl is the same person who was
I don't know. How do you?
yeah, who was born? That's the problem here. So, in this kind of situation, you have to be ready. First of all, make sure that you have the birth certificate issued by the municipal committee or the Gram Panchayat, now wherever you were born. Sometimes people come and say that we can obtain the birth certificate from the Embassy of India in Washington DC or other consulates. That is unacceptable. Why? Because Embassy of India is not the primary authority to record the births and deaths. They may issue a governmental document, but this is not a substitute for the birth certificate to be issued by the municipal committee or Gram Panchayat. So, that is very critical and it takes some time. You have to go back to your hometown in India and request your parents or siblings or relatives or friends to obtain that certificate, which is a time consuming process. Once you see that certificate, then you figure it out that it has so many issues. Father's spelling name wrong, maybe like I earlier said, missing, doesn't say what's the name of the person. So, in that kind of situation, you need to provide secondary evidence. What is the secondary evidence? First of all, maybe you like to obtain 2 or 3 affidavits from your siblings, from your parents if they are alive, or cousins or uncles, aunts. So, they are going to certify under oath in terms of the affidavits that I was present or I know based on my personal knowledge, quote unquote, personal knowledge. Somebody would write based on my best of information. No, that doesn't work. It should be based on the personal knowledge that this person was born on such and such date to so and so parents. When those affidavits are executed and signed and notarized, now those are acceptable as secondary evidence. In addition to these 2 or 3 affidavits, you also need to provide other governmental documents. What are those governmental documents? let us say school certificate. I tell you very interesting thing, Ken. Whenever we ask people from India that give us your birth certificate, now as a matter of routine, they will produce their high school certificate, because high school certificate would have the date of birth. Now, traditionally they have thought that this was their birth certificate, but we tell them, look, this is the school certificate, it has your date of birth, but this is acceptable only as a secondary evidence, but not as a primary evidence of the birth. So, we will take that document. Then other governmental documents would include, like income tax authorities, they issue a PAN number, PAN, like we have a social security number here in the United States. So, PAN number would have the date of birth of that person. Then there is a Aadhaar card or other governmental document. We also use the passport, or if they have the Indian driving license, we can use those dates as secondary evidence. So, we have to educate people and make them ready to procure affidavits and all these documents to work as substitute for the birth certificates. Likewise, marriage certificate. Now, a few years back, marriage was not required to be registered in India. Now, it's required to be registered with the Registrar of Marriages. Once the Supreme Court judgment was issued, now it's mandatory. But how to document the person who is filing for his wife, they are legally wedded. So, we need a copy of the marriage certificate. So, this is how we can prepare all these beneficiaries for the proper documentation.
Is there any equivalent of a baptismal document? Is there a temple registry of individuals within the local village?
Yeah, yes, it is there, but again, this won't be the substitute for the marriage certificate, which is to be registered in the court after it has been made mandatory. But before that, these kinds of documents were acceptable. Like people who got married in 70s or 80s, there was no mandatory requirement. We will tell them, bring us your religious certificates. Like people get married in a temple, they get married in church, or they get married in gurdwaras. So, bring us those certificates. Along with that, we will also prepare some affidavits, and they will be testifying that yes, I attended that marriage, or I have personal knowledge, so and so person got married to so and so person. Yes.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Very interesting. What are some of the benefits of the new visa bulletin system to applicants when we're talking about adjustment of status? That we've often mentioned the term adjustment of status.
Wonderful. Now, there are two major benefits if we are talking about employment based category. Number one, as I said, when you apply for the adjustment of status, you get your EAD, employment authorization document, within 90 days. 90 days is the limit within which you are supposed to be receiving it. Sometime it goes beyond 90 days, let's say 10 or 15 days more. And you also get your advance parole. The purpose of the advance parole is that in an emergency, if you have to go abroad, because you have filed adjustment of status or change of status, maybe you are in a different kind of visa which has allowed you to stay here in this country. And let's say if you are on H1 and H1 stamp is in your passport, you are fine. If not, then your application for adjustment of status will be deemed abandoned if you don't have the advance parole. And the good thing is, when you file your adjustment of status application, you file 3 forms together: I-765, I-131 and I-485. I know you are trying to help one of your friends, and probably you will see that your friend will be filing these 3 forms. So, it takes about 90 days, as I said, to obtain your EAD, and then advance parole document that comes in about 120 days. Usually when you are applying at the same time, you have to pay one fee, $1,070. Just $1,070, and you will get a combo card which would give you work authorization for 2 years and advance parole for 2 years. So, you can use that card to show your eligibility to work in the United States. At the same time, you can travel internationally. So that's number one benefit. And second benefit is, now if your adjustment of status application is not filed, first of all, your I-140 petition, based on which the adjustment of status is filed, or in case of family situation, you file I-130 petition, right? Now, that I-140 can be revoked by the employer. If I-140 is revoked by the employer, you have to start your green card process again. So these are the major advantages because of change in the visa bulletin, and if some people are taking advantage of that.
And this will all lead to the green card.
Yes, yes.
Well, I think that green card is probably thought of as the golden ring that people are looking for.
This is the golden ring because it really allows you almost everything except that you cannot vote and probably you cannot work for certain departments of the federal government or federal agency. You are a permanent resident of the United States.
As we were talking before starting up, how I mentioned that those of us who were born in this country don't really appreciate what we have, you know, in terms of our citizenship and everything compared to elsewhere, and we should be very, very grateful for that.
I agree with you.
Well, I'd like to thank you for coming in and explaining this complicated topic and making it relatively understandable. Thank you.
It has been my great pleasure, and thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you.